Hey Catgangas, DEVA here with another exciting video. Today I will cover my top 10 favorite elemental switch axes. This video will contain 10 builds because I made 2 versions for every element. First, the full DPS true crit element tryhard builds, and second we have the farming or comfort builds, which every single one of them will have a 100% crit chance and the comfort skills recovery up, health boost, divine blessing, focus and power prolonger all maxed out. The demon cats are on their way back, so slap like in the next 1.25 seconds if you don't wanna see them tonight next to your bed at 3 AM and take your soul. So for weapons I picked Nergigante Dragonbone for dragon, Barioth or Vilcana and Legiana for ice, Sylvalos and Anja for fire, Namiel and Coral Pookie for water, Kirin and Kirin for thunder because Kirin is just so good. There are 2 kinds of file types and we will use both on this video. The power files and the power element files. Regardless of the type, file explosions do both elemental and raw damage. The only difference is that power element does give you a huge boost on your element while you're in sword mode and power files on your raw. You can go to training area and check that yourself. You can see on my screen my element gets boosted from 960 to 1400, which is a 45% increased elemental damage while in sword mode. So we will be using power element files on the DPS build since we will run the skill true crit element, which is the biggest elemental boost in the game by far, and power files on our comfy build since we don't care about elemental DPS and have some decent DPS but as well comfort. Before we jump into the builds, I will quickly explain you the skills. Focus level 3 gives you a 20% increase on your inner but as well outer fill rate. This means you will be way faster charged up and deal more damage by getting file bursts faster and faster recovery to not go out of meter. Power Prolonger 3 increases the charge mode duration by 40%, so you will be able to spam zero-sum discharges or file bursts for a longer period. Health boost 3 for additional 50 health. Divine blessing 3 to 5 for up to 60% damage reduction when it activates. Recovery 3 will give you a 30% increase on any source of healing, and this of course includes health augment or lifesteal, call it whatever you want. Protect polish will allow you to not lose sharpness for 60 seconds after sharpening. Item Prolonger 3 extends the duration of all items by 50%, for example Demon Powder, Might Seeds, but as well Protective Polish, since sharpening counts as an item. This means those 2 skills combined, now you have 90 seconds of infinite sharpness and will be used on our DPS sets. Handicraft to increase our sharpness and reach the next color, which gives us raw and elemental damage boost. Critical Eye and Weakness Exploit together will help us to reach a 100% affinity or crit chance on tenderized parts. Critical Heals deal 125% of your raw damage and the skill Crit Boost 3 increases this to 140%. The set Master's Touch will allow you to maintain your sharpness since you won't lose any if you land critical hits. Since all of the builds except one are 100% crit chance on tenderized parts, you will have infinite amount of sharpness. We have also Crit Element and True Crit Element set bonus, which will increase the elemental damage of your weapon when landing critical hits. Just like Critical Boost applies to raw damage, only that this applies to elemental damage. One big note for decorations. If you don't have those high tier decos, there is no reason for complaining at me. I'm not the one who's handing them out to you. I will always use the best possible combinations and builds, and then you can try to rearrange them. So asking me for builds without decos makes no sense because the builds without decos will be the same build but without decos. So you have to drop some comfort, that's how it works. But mostly you should see the builds as a really endgame goal to farm for it, and honestly, just try spending 1 week going for only Temperate Elders and you will see how many of those you will get already, if not all of them. I personally use a save editor and I don't see anything wrong with it since I can't be bothered to farm another 2000 hours like on Vault. Also, I do not have absolutely any time to play the game anymore since I started making videos. All my knowledge comes from Vault. Let's jump into our first build starting with a dragon element. For comfort, I'm using the Ruiner Nergigante simply because of its high raw and maxed out sharpness. It has power files, so you will get a huge boost on your raw damage. As for augments, you will pick 1 health regeneration and 1 affinity to reach the 100%. Now Master's Touch is a bit overkill, so I went with Divine Blessing Secret. It has 110 hits of white sharpness, so you're good during the hunt. For more skilled players, we have the tryhard DPS build and we're using the Dragon Bone Swags. It has the highest elemental damage but as well power element files. Here we run Protect Polish with item prolong of course, so we can go full Anga Banga without to worry about sharpness. True Crit Element will give you an insane boost on your elemental damage. As for augments, we use 1 affinity for 100% crit, health regeneration and element up. For fire comfort I picked the Silver Rathalos because it has power files, purple sharpness and high element. This set uses of course Master Touch, so we can maintain that purple sharpness and keep our damage up. As for augments, 1 affinity and 1 health regeneration again to hit the 100% affinity. Now this will be the only weapon in the video that doesn't reach 100% crit. The reason why Anjanath weapons are so good is because they have super high element with elemental power files, but as well huge throw. I personally didn't want to waste health regeneration on this DPS build, because we will drop 2 element augments for that. Also be sure to use 1 affinity augment for 10% extra. After the first augment you will only gain 5% affinity, therefore it's not worth in my opinion. For water comfort I went with Namiel. It has a very high row, enough white sharpness to make handicraft useless and a 420 water element. Here again we can fit all the comfort skills in without to drop anything. Augments are 1 health regen and 1 affinity to reach the 100%. Our DPS set will use the Gay Pookie Switch X. It has purple sharpness, power element files and an incredible amount of element. This build has definitely the highest DPS for water. As for augments, you can go with 1 affinity and 4 times element up. Like I said, I personally don't like dropping 2 element augments for health regeneration. Rarity 10 weapons are just so good to max out the element and affinity. For Thunder Comfort, we go with the Kirin. The Thunder Element 3 weapon is also a great option, but I personally find this better. It has the highest Thunder Element, very comfortable white sharpness which has a lot of slots and power element files. So this is the only comfort build with crit element. I think Master Touch will be completely wasted here on so much white sharpness. Augments are 1 affinity increase to reach 100%, 1 health regeneration and 1 element up. For max CPS we are going again with the Kirin, and it was so good to build that I managed to fit in focus level 3. Same augments on our comfort build. I don't know how good it is compared to the Thunder Tree, but I see no point why it wouldn't be better. For Ice Comfort I couldn't decide between Barioth and Velkhana, so I'm using both. Barioth Wax has a high element, good white sharpness and power files. It will have less raw damage but a 30% base affinity, which allows us to fit so many other skills in. For augments we use 1 health regeneration and 2 element up. Now on Velkhana build instead you will lose 2 Divine Blessing but gain purple sharpness and higher raw damage. Since both are power files, I think Velkhana will deal a little bit more damage since we benefit mostly from raw. As for augments we go with 1 health regeneration and 1 affinity. For the max damage build we will go with the Legiana Switch X. This is definitely the best because of its high element and the ability to reach purple sharpness. 1 tick is all we need since Protect Polish allows us to maintain our sharpness, and let's say monsters take about 3 to 5 minutes if you go out on full DPS. So you will only need to sharpen once during the fight and once before the fight. Augments are 1 health regeneration, 1 element up and 1 affinity increase to reach the 100% crit again. So if you have watched my other build videos, you will know that I covered the top 5 dual blades and charged blades. On this one I made an exception and made the highest DPS builds, but as well the highest comfort. That's a lot of work since there is so many different combinations. If this video helped you and gave you a better understanding of Switch X, you can leave a like, which only takes like 2 seconds but supports me incredibly much. If you have any questions, be sure to join my Discord server, which I will link down in the description, and also comment down below what you want to see next or what you think of these builds. With that said, I wish you all a nice day and happy Switch Xing. Don't forget to join Cat Gang.